Alright, so I really didn't want to make this video because I don't even want to entertain the situation. It is so ridiculous that I even have to waste time that I do not have making this video, but let's just get right into it. As many of you already know, on April 5th, 2025, me, Lugs Buggin, and Perpetual Shun took the Grief community by storm with our 3 versus 3 tournament win. The win was a tremendous achievement for me, as I had stopped playing the game consistently and competitively a very long time ago. This was my second tournament, and in my first tournament, I had gotten second place. I had dropped zombies a long time ago, about 2 years ago, in Grief as a whole, to focus on myself, to focus on construction and boxing. I recently came back a couple months ago and met 2 individuals named Lugs Buggin and Perpetual Shun, who I would win the tournament with shortly after meeting. Prior to competing in the tournament, in order to keep myself fresh and not lose my flow, rhythm, and skill as a zombies player, I would regularly play first rooms on my own time every now and then, such as Bus Depot first room, Semtex first room, etc. At some point down the line, a friend of mine had informed me that none of my games on Plutonium were actually legit. In fact, Plutonium makes several adjustments to the game that render the game illegitimate. However, all hope wasn't lost because the community had created a patch to revert these modifications so that all games played on Plutonium were exactly the same as all of the games played on vanilla Steam. Now this patch is the same patch that Sanji is saying that I used in order to cheat in the tournament. A patch that was put in place for the sole purpose of validating and fixing the modded Plutonium version of the game. Sanji is essentially upset because I used a patch that makes Grief more vanilla, as opposed to his preferred modded settings. There is a long list of points and arguments that Sanji has brought up, and I'd like to do my best to address them all as thoroughly as possible. Luckily, Sanji posted a text document filled with his arguments with Nacro in his DMs. Merci beaucoup, Sanji. If you'd like to see the receipts yourself, you can view them in the description below. Sanji makes the claim that the slower backspeed has a higher impact on those off-host. This is absolutely not true. The coding in the patch does not target foreign host, it affects all of the players. If players have the exact same movement speed, which everyone did, then nobody is impacted more than the other. Just because you are off-host does not mean that there is a higher impact. It just means that you are off-host. You will always be at a disadvantage if you are off-host, regardless of a micro adjustment to strafe speed and backspeed to all players. If we use Sanji's logic with that being said, when they hosted without a patch, they were moving faster while they were on host, which has a higher impact on them because they have a better connection. This is an argument that goes both ways, so I'm just gonna move on from this. Now, before we move on, I'd like to point something out that's very important. And that is the usernames of my first 3 opponents. Alright, yo, can y'all tell me how this is fair? In, what shape or form this is fucking fair? Do y'all see this shit? This can't be real, bro. Y'all can't be serious. The backwards patch makes the game how it is meant to be on Steam runs. Runs that are engineered by the devs and have default coding. Plutonium makes several modifications to the game which make the game illegitimate in the eyes of ZWR standards. It is a requirement to use these patches when going for a world record. Why? Because it reverts the game back to its default predecessor on Steam, which makes the game as legit as anybody else who has played it on PC, validating the game for records. When the patch is in use, all players are affected, not just one team. When one team is using the same username to disguise themselves, and the other is not, the team with different usernames have several communication disadvantages. You cannot tell who is pushing you. You cannot say out loud who is chasing, who is pushing, who is double teaming you. You cannot for certain say who's down, and you cannot for certain say who you are bleeding out. These are all advantages that they had, and we did not. A micro adjustment in backspeed? Everyone is affected. No one is at a disadvantage. One could even argue that this makes it very easy for them to substitute teammates. They could easily substitute one of their worser teammates for a better teammate and nobody would really know. The argument that you can decipher who is who by ping is very flawed, because your designated color always changes, from game to game. In Sanji's message to Nacro, he says, quote, "We noticed from the first game that there was this patch active and we write to Nate Z, stop the game, and he refused. Then he told us that the patch made the game more legit, so we trusted him, except that as we played along, we noticed that something was wrong. So MAGA went looking for information and we noticed that the patch they were using was slowing down movement." End quote. Well, yes, it is true that they had asked me to remove the patch. I had explained to them that it doesn't change the game. It makes the game more legit, which is a true statement. With that being said, the 3 individuals all agreed to continue playing the game with the patch on. Play like your family member dies if you lose this game.
No, I'm literally gonna play it just like I would play it.
Is it first to 3? Is that what it is?
First room fix?
This makes everything legit. You should be able to change team and shit. It wasn't until the very end of the game, when we won RPS, did they decide to make the claim that the patch wasn't fair. It wasn't like they realized mid-game, or happened to notice while playing. They had only decided to say something when we were about to win, at the very start of the last round, even after agreeing to play with it. Now all of this kind of makes sense, right? How Sanji found out there was backspeed fix, via MAGA doing some digging, right? Well, it kinda doesn't, when you start to take into account the fact that MAGA Fees is a first room player. Now, if you're a first room player, you should already know what the first room patch does. You should already know that it reduces your backspeed. And that's what MAGA Fees is. He's a first room player. So, did MAGA Fees just suddenly forget that the first room patch reduces backspeed? Did he just suddenly forget what the first room patch does, even though he himself is a first room player? MAGA went looking for information and we noticed that the patch they were using was slowing down movement. So he's saying that they all knew before the last match started. So if that is true, then why were 2 of my opposing team's teammates acting confused when one of their teammates was accusing the patch of not being legit? I know that for a fact. Yellow is Sanji.
Nice, good shit.
The spawns are different?! This is how it's supposed to be!
Nah, we gotta get Nakiro on the call because that's just retarded. They wait till the
and they forfeited. And they forfeited. Sanji also states that either all games are played with patch or all games are played without the patch. Listen, Sanji, the reason why the patch even exists in the first place is because Plutonium is modded. 100% modded. The back speed is changed and so is the strafe speed, and I'm sure there are other things that are changed that I'm not even aware of. The patch reverts the game back to its default coding and settings, which does in fact make my version of the game with patch more vanilla than Sanji's game. If anything, Sanji was cheating by playing with modded settings, and also disguising his usernames. Me and my team played our host with vanilla settings. If anyone should be accused of cheating, it's Sanji for using modded game settings and disguising his usernames. But I'm not going to make that claim because I'm not Sanji. And Sanji also made the claim that I knew what I was doing and I maliciously used the patch to my advantage. With that being said, here's video evidence of me using the patch days before the tournament. Here's a clip from my April Fool's video where I was using the patch and you can see that I was clearly trying to play first rooms with it. Here's a screenshot from the afternoon I did the tournament where I said that I completely forgot the tournament was even happening. And here's a clip from the tournament itself where I outright admitted that the tournament doesn't really mean that much to me anyways. I just want you guys to know that I'm not even, like, treating this like it's a tournament. I'm treating this like it's a fucking... like we're on the server right now. It really is just a tournament, bro. It's just a grief tournament, for fuck's sake. It's gonna be more. In conclusion, I would never cheat in any of the competitive zombies games and events that I have participated in. I myself know what it is like to work very hard for something, only to lose it to someone who has cheated. It is not a good feeling, and I would never wish that upon anybody else, even if that someone is as fucked up as Sanji. And my message to Sanji is, grow the fuck up. It's just a video game. It's not even that serious. You took something that was supposed to be fun, and you turned it into a pissing contest, because you were mad that you lost. You went out of your way to try and diminish my name, all for the sake of your pride. And the honest truth is, I forgot to take the patch off. I wasn't even thinking about the effect that it had on the tournament, because it didn't matter. A micro adjustment in backspeed for all players isn't a game-breaking change, and it wouldn't have even made a significant difference. I mean, hell, even your own teammate seems to think so as well. There are many more points and arguments that I could sit here and debunk all day, but I'm honestly tired of this shit, and I cannot bother to edit another minute of this pointless video. I've already spent my whole day off making it. Everyone already knows that Sanji is just a butthurt, sore loser. I just wanted to make sure that he knows he's a butthurt, sore loser. Thanks for listening to what I have to say, guys. Take it easy. And lesson of the day, always clean out your script folder before attorneys. That's it. See ya.